Hello everybody, it's Sarah, and today I have a video for you that I had originally planned to upload at the beginning of the year, which it is not anymore. And that is the next entry in my 5-star predictions videos. Basically, I make those videos looking back at the last 5-star prediction video I did and which predictions I gave, telling you which books I read, which books I didn't read, and whether or not I gave the books that I read 5 stars, and then also at the end of the video giving new 5-star predictions. Usually I try to do them every half a year, so at the beginning of the year and around the middle of the year. It's not the beginning of the year anymore, so I won't follow my original plan of having my next predictions be for the first half of 2022. I'll just have these predictions be for the rest of 2022. Which actually is a shame, because quite a few books that would have been on this predictions list I have already read, and they were 5 stars, so yeah. Anyway, before we get into talking about my past predictions though, and telling you whether or not I read those books, 2 quick things. First of all, in the past year I did not rate books unless they were 5 stars for me, so I cannot tell you which rating I would have given a book if I didn't rate it 5 stars. And then the second thing is, let me just quickly once again explain what makes a 5-star read for me. For me, a 5-star read is not just a book that I enjoy a lot, which, by the way, if that's how you rate books, if it's simply by enjoyment, that's completely fine, because ratings are 100% subjective. But for me, I don't give out 5 stars all that often, because for me there's 2 main components to a 5-star read. The first one is that I have to think that it is technically well done. For me to think a book is technically well done does not necessarily have to mean that it is written in a way where I personally enjoy it, although that is obviously most of the time, all the time, the case when it comes to a 5-star read. But you know, I want to see a type of craftsmanship in the writing of a 5-star book, for me at least. And then the second thing is the 100% purely subjective. I have to have a connection to the book, and if that connection is not there, then it's not a 5-star book, no matter if I think that it is the most beautiful written book of all time. So yeah, those are the 2 main components that make a 5-star read for me. And now let's get into the books that I had on my past predictions. I might be looking down quite a bit because I have my list right here, if my phone would unlock. First of all, let me start with the 3 books, I think, yeah. Let me start with the 3 books that I have not read and that I also won't take with me onto my next 5-star predictions list. So the first 2 books are actually books that I took with me from, you know, not my last 5-star predictions, but from the one before that. The first of those books is The Forever Sea by Joshua Phillip Johnson. This is an adult environmental high fantasy, and I just didn't get around to reading it. I do still plan on reading it though. I have it for 2022 on my r/fantasy bingo challenge, so I should read it before April. However, I just don't think it's gonna be a 5-star prediction anymore. Most of my 5-star predictions, by the way, either are by authors I already know or just off vibes. And the reason why I don't think this is going to be a 5-star prediction anymore is because I've seen a few people who have similar tastes to me who enjoyed the book but who didn't love the book, and I also saw that the average Goodreads rating is quite low, which for me, a lot of times I still give a book 5 stars even though the average Goodreads rating is quite low. But I don't know, for this one, for some reason, I'm not getting 5-star vibes anymore, so it's moving off my list. The second book I obviously also didn't read. I'm also moving off my 5-star predictions list, but not because I'm not feeling 5-star vibes anymore, but because I just simply do not know when I'll ever get around to reading this, because I can't get it via my bookstore and I'm very hesitant ordering via Amazon. So, you know, it's speculative literary fiction. I'm already pointing here as if I had already put the cover here, which I haven't yet because I haven't said the title yet. It's On Fragile Waves by E. Lily Yu, I believe, but you can see the author on the cover as well. But yeah, it's speculative literary fiction. Speculative literary fiction I don't tend to order separately. When it comes to literary fiction, I tend to go with the books that my bookstore has. and so far they've never had this, so I'm not sure when I'll ever get around to reading this, even though I still want to read it. But yeah, because of that, I just don't see a sense in having a 5-star prediction when I don't know when I'll ever get around to the book. The third 5-star prediction I had was one that I, for the first time, put onto my predictions list in my last 5-star predictions video, and that was Certain Dark Things by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. When I put this on my list, I so far had only read 2 of her books. One was Mexican Gothic, the other was Gods of Jade and Shadow. Gods of Jade and Shadow was a 5-star book. Mexican Gothics was a 2 to 2.5 stars for me, and I thought I would put it towards the 5-star territory because this is like fantasy noir, or what is it called? Gothic noir? Neo-noir. That's what it's called, with vampires in Mexico City. And so that sounded really, really interesting. However, I have since read a third Sylvia Moreno Garcia book, which I enjoyed myself with. I gave it like a solid 3 stars, but it wasn't anything that blew me away. So now, while I still think I will enjoy this, and while I think I will enjoy it more than Mexican Gothic and Velvet Was the Night, I'm not sure if it's gonna be a 5 stars, so I'm pulling this off my predictions list. But obviously I have a copy, so I still intend to read it. Very obviously. Next, I have 6 predictions that I did read, and let me start with the predictions that I was just flat out wrong on. First, I sadly had The Bronze Beast by Roshani Chokshi. This was the 3rd and last book in the Gilded Wolves trilogy. This is YA historical urban fantasy. It's an ensemble piece. Each story centers a heist. And yeah, I thought this would be a 5-star because it's a finale. If a finale is well done in a series that I enjoy, then a lot of times it's very easily a 5-star. And the first book, The Gilded Wolves, was one of my favorite books in the year that I read it. I gave that one 5 stars. I think I gave the second one 4 stars. However, last year, this just didn't do it for me. I thought it was boring. I thought characterizations were off. I just didn't like it whatsoever. So this one was not a 5-star. Sadly, that prediction was wrong. And the other prediction that was completely wrong was also a 3rd book in a series, however, not a last book in a series. And that was Brandon Sanderson's Cytonic, which is the 3rd book in the Skyward series. In the Skyward series, the first 2 books, I'm not sure if I gave the second book 5 stars. The first one I definitely gave 5 stars. The first one is currently my favorite Brandon Sanderson novel. I love the first one. I also really enjoyed the second one, even on reread. But this one was just so bad. This is YA science fiction, by the way. This one was bad. Like, I hated the character development. I thought it didn't make sense. I thought the directions the characters were going in didn't make sense. Also, I feel like I'm kind of overexposed, but whatever, you gotta deal with it. It's almost midnight and I'm too lazy to play around with my lights. So yeah, anyway, I did not like this one whatsoever. If I had rated books in 2022, I might very well have given this 2 stars. So I turned the lights down a little bit, so I hope it's better now. But moving on, we have 2 books, or well, 1 book and 1 series that I put onto my 5-star predictions that didn't make it to the 5 stars that I nevertheless really enjoyed. First, I have Star Eater by Kristen. The reason why I put this onto my 5-star predictions is because there's, first of all, cannibalistic priestesses, matriarchal cannibalistic priestesses, there's zombies, it's like there's giant cats that you can ride on. It sounded amazing, and it was pretty amazing. I really, really enjoyed this book a lot. I thought the concept especially was just really fun. I think I might have done a review of this. I should have probably done a review of this because it's written by a woman or genderqueer person, and I try to review all adult high fantasy that I read by women or genderqueer people. So The review will be left linked down below if I can find it. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. However, it wasn't quite 5 stars. The next prediction I had was one where I was like, one of the books in this series that I will read until the end of the year will make a 5-star book. And sadly, neither of the books did. Neither of the 2 books in the series that I read did, even though both got pretty close. And the series I'm talking about is the Dandelion Dynasty. I read The Wall of Storms and The Veiled Throne, which are the 2nd and the 3rd book. And the reason why I thought one of the 2 would definitely be a 5 stars is because I already really enjoyed the first book. The reason why this one didn't quite make 5 stars is that while I really enjoy these books and while I can really dive into these books, they are so intricate, they are so complex, I absolutely love them. My interest with these books stays on a more intellectual level, and I don't connect with these books that much on an emotional level. So that's why I didn't end up giving either of the books 5 stars, but I still would really recommend like the entire series. Although so far actually the first book was my favorite and has stayed my favorite, but yeah, definitely recommended, and I definitely do not regret reading them whatsoever, which was not the case for the first 2 books I talked about. Then I had 2 predictions that did make 5 stars. First of all, I have The Black Coast by Mike Brooks, which I put onto my predictions list simply off of vibes because, you know, why not? I felt this cover, I heard there's LGBT content in here. I just had to put it onto my 5-star predictions list, and this book did not disappoint. Sometimes it's just a really nice thing picking up a book that you haven't heard a lot of hype about, that you haven't heard a lot of anything about, and so going into it almost completely blind and just letting yourself be surprised by what awaits you. And so this one, the reason why I gave this 5 stars mostly because the characters I did really enjoy, which was part of the reason why the 2nd book in this series didn't get 5 stars, because we shift focus a little bit onto other characters that I didn't love quite as much. But the main reason why this one got 5 stars for me is definitely the world building. It was very intricate, there was lots of queer world building, there was lots of gendered world building, both in terms of cisgendered and transgendered world building, and it was just so well done and I enjoyed it so much. And so yeah, can highly recommend this book. Also, I cannot wait to reread it for the 3rd book in the series. The last prediction that I got right because I gave the first book 5 stars, so I had to put the 2nd book onto my predictions list as well, and that was The Lie Is Not by M.A. Carrick. This is just, it's not even done and it's already one of my favorite series of all time. This series is so good. The 2nd book somehow even surpassed the first one. I love the character relationships, I love the character development. It's just good. It's just good, and that's all I have to say about that. Also, my review of The Mask of Mirrors, I will leave linked down below. I didn't do a review for The Lie Is Not. Also, I did do a review for The Black Coast, so that one will be linked down below as well. But yeah, really enjoyed this one and really loved it. And then I have one last prediction that I actually didn't read, and that was also actually a prediction not from the last prediction video, well, also from the last prediction video, but also from the video before that already. And the reason why I'm talking about it now and not with the other books that I didn't read is because this will also be the first prediction that I will drag with me into the future once again. And that is basically any book in Joe Abercrombie's First World series. I already had it on my predictions list 2 videos ago, as I said. And before the 2nd video, I have read the first trilogy in the First Law series, and I did not give any of the books 5 stars. However, I enjoyed the books enough that I feel confident enough to say that probably one of the last 6 books, so either one of the 3 standalones or of the Age of Madness trilogy, will become a 5-star book. I honestly just really hope so, because I really enjoyed Joe Abercrombie's writing, and I have Best Served Cold right here because, first of all, It's the one that I have physically. That's not one of the books that I already read. And also it's the one where I've heard the most good things about in terms of the standalones, where a lot of people have told me this might be the one that you will enjoy the most. So yeah, very excited to continue on, and it is a plan for 2022 to hopefully finish with the First Law world. Then next I have two very obvious predictions. I have a total of 10 predictions, by the way. Next I have two very obvious predictions. First I have Godbreaker, which is the third book in the God King Chronicles, so the last book in the series. Obviously the Black Coast was a 5-star for me. The second one was a little bit below 5 stars, but a lot of times, even if the second book didn't quite hit 5 stars for me, the third book will hit 5 stars for me, because especially when you have series like this where the focus is quite narrow in the first book and then widens up in the second book, I'm a little bit disappointed in the second book because it widens up and we don't focus on the characters that I already fell in love with. But then when it comes to the third book, I am ready, I expect that. So, you know, the third book will be a 5-star again for me. So let's hope that's the case here as well. And then I also have the third book in the Rook and Rose series, for which we don't have a name yet, we don't have a title yet. But obviously the first two books were already 5 stars for me, so I think the third book would have to be pretty bad for me to not give it 5 stars. So yeah, that's all I have to say on that. Let's actually stay with the same author, or one of the same authors, because M.A. Carrick is an author duo and one of the authors is Mary Brennan, and I do think that one of the books that I still have to read in the Memoirs by Lady Trent series, which is the 4th and the 5th book, I still have to read. Also the 6th book, which is kind of a sequel, that's like a spin-off type book. But I think one of these books will be a 5-star, because so far I have really enjoyed all of them. They've just not quite become 5 stars for me, but these books are everything my anthropology student heart wants in terms of a fantasy. So yeah, I really hope that one of these two will be a 5-star for me. Another sequel that's a 5-star prediction is Fevered Star by Rebecca Roanhorse. This is the sequel to Black Sun, which was one of my favorite books in 2020, and I have been waiting for the sequel a lot, and I think it's gonna be a 5-star. The only thing that makes me kind of side-eye it a bit is that it's really short. It's under 400 pages, which for an adult high fantasy, that's a bit short. How are we gonna get all the content that we need to get to properly get into it? But nevertheless, I am putting this on this list because I am speaking the 5 stars into existence. Next I have 2 books by authors I have already read before, then I have 2 more books by authors I haven't read before, and then I have a random classic. So first, the 2 books by authors I've already read. First I have Moon Dark Smile by Tessa Gratton. This is the sequel to Nightshine, which also was a book that I almost gave 5 stars. It's a queer, very weird YA high fantasy, and I love it. Also by Tessa Gratton, I read 2 of her adult novels, which are Shakespeare retellings, and I just want Moon Dark Smile to be a 5-star. I don't care. I'm putting it on this list. I am so excited for this. This is one of my most anticipated releases of the year. It needs to be a 5-star. And then I have Fable and Arcane History by R.F. Quang. R.F. Quang is of course an author that I have not the best history with, because I really didn't like the first 2 Poppy War books. Then I gave the 3rd Poppy War book 4 stars, surprisingly. And this one just sounds like it's right up my alley. It's like decolonial, dark academia, high fantasy. It sounds so good. I don't know that much more what it's about, but yeah, I don't know. I can feel the 5 stars with this one. I can just feel it. 2 other random 5-star predictions where I can also just feel it, even though, like, with one of them I do know the genre and I somewhat know, not what it's about, but you know, I know some of the contents of the book in terms of representation and so on. With the second one, I forgot everything what it's about. And let's start actually with the second one, and that is The Book Eaters by, I obviously forgot to write down the author names when I made my list, so look at the cover for the author name. But yeah, this one, I've just seen some reviews around and they really make me intrigued and they really make me feel like this could be a 5-star. So I put it on this list. And then the second random one is The Final Strife by Sarah El Rafi, I think. I'm not sure on the last name. I know the first name is Sarah, although written differently than my name. So yeah, but The Final Strife, this is an African Arabian adult high fantasy. There's a lot of different rap that I forgot. I believe there's trans rap, there's definitely some queer rap. I think there's addiction rap as well. So yeah, a lot of different elements, and I don't know, I can feel the 5 stars of this one. And the last random 5 stars I have is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I recently picked this up because now I don't have any unread classics anymore on my physical TBR shelf, so I need to stock up once again. And I don't know, I believe this is gonna be like the type of dark, moody, emotional, psychological classic that I can really, really enjoy, and I've heard a lot of good things about this one. So I think this might be a 5-star if I can get around to reading it until the end of the year, that is. And that was it for a very long 5-star predictions video. Tell me in the comments down below if any of the books I mentioned in either section of the video are 5-star predictions for you or were 5-star books for you. If you enjoyed this video, maybe think about giving me a thumbs up and also maybe subscribing. All the links to my social media as well as to my book club of Queens, Witches and Valkyries, will read one adult high fantasy book written by a woman or genderqueer person per month, will be left linked down below, so go and check those out, and I hope I'll see you very soon. Bye!